Hey y'all, so today I have a little story time for you guys. This is going to be part one because I do have to say this is a very long and detailed story, but trust me, it's because every detail does really matter in this situation. I do kind of have to explain the backstory, but I promise you it will be worth the wait. The drama, it will be there, and trust me, this entire story is drama filled, and unfortunately it was my life and my reality last year. So also it is starting to rain a little bit, so I hope it just adds to the ambiance and the story time vibes. So yeah, we're just gonna hop straight into this because there is a lot. The lies, the lies, the lies. But the truth will always set you free. So I found out about the SSF program from my mom, as well as two of my friends who are sisters that were currently in the program. One of the sisters had a problem with her roommate, but that problem did end up getting solved, and it seemed like she was accommodated well and the situation got fixed. So they both said that they had a good experience with the program, and so I decided to give it a shot. My best friend and I decided to go through the interview process, which went great, honestly. Like, it seemed like it was going to be such a good program to join. However, one thing that stuck out to me during the interview, and now that I think about it, it's kind of a blaring red flag, is the fact that the interviewer kept emphasizing that SSF was like a family. In fact, this is something that they constantly push throughout the program and on their website, in their TikToks. Yeah, they have a TikTok page. Anytime you hear SSF, you get these, we're like a family, we're tight knit, we're this, we're close, we're like, they very much drive it home that they have a very family like. So personally, I like to be thoroughly prepared when it's time for me to move into a new place. I figure a lot of people are like this, but we seem to be the only people struggling with this, me and my best friend. That's just how I am. I don't feel entirely settled until I know what I am to expect in this new place. Uh-oh, y'all, it's starting to rain a little bit. I hope it's not like too overpowering. Like, for example, our freshman year, and I mentioned this in another video, but during freshman year, I scoured YouTube and all over TikTok and so many places to figure out how to decorate like a college dorm, and specifically dorm tours of the dorm that I was going to be staying in at my specific college. And by doing that, I knew the exact layout and I had everything prepared on how I was going to utilize this space to the best of its ability before we moved in. So on move-in day, we knew exactly where we're going to have things at, and we knew exactly the rules and expectations of that dorm. Not to mention, we had toured the campus twice. We toured the campus with our school, that's a whole nother like hot mess, because we toured our school, which is an HBCU, with our very much white school, and the kids definitely disrespected that entire tour and the tour guide. But we toured it once that time as a sophomore in high school, and then once as a senior in high school with my parents, and my parents took a group of us up there to tour it again. So my best friend Courtney and I tried everything to find further information on the house layout and rules. I was watching videos from 13 years ago on their official YouTube page to get more info, but there wasn't much there, guys. It was literally like old videos, and there was a lot of videos of other houses, but the ones specific to FAMU's campus, there wasn't really that many, and they were like from long ago, so clearly the house would have had to change over the years. And when they were doing their tour, which like I said was from like 13 years ago, it was of the guy's house.
You there?
Huh?
Hey, you there?
Me?
You been to the house?
Uh-uh.
Come on.
And it was only like the living room and the kitchen, but nothing else. So we didn't get to see really much of anything. And every other video on their page, like I said, was of other houses, and it didn't give much information. It was just a bunch of skits that they did and silly things like that. And the most recent videos at that time was from like 3 years ago. Uh-oh, it's getting a little windy. On April 28th, 2023, my friend and I went over to the scholarship houses on our campus to see if we could tour them. So we walked up, knocked on the door, and it took them like 2 minutes to open the door. And when they finally came to the door, they kind of like cracked it open. And we were just like, oh, hi, like, are we able to tour the house? And they told us that we needed to request to tour the house, like I guess on the official website, before actually being able to get allowed in. And they were just like, okay, just go do that real quick and then we can let you in. And we're like, okay. So we go back to the car and both of us are on our phones trying to hurry up and request at that time so we can get a tour. So then we both received an email saying we need to request for another day. And we did that same day. Like, we were a little bit annoyed that we couldn't tour the house when we were literally there in the parking lot, ready to tour the house. And by the way, guys, this was like at the end of, I believe this was the last day of classes and clearly at the end of spring semester. So we were trying to hurry up and tour before we had to move back home for the summer. And then we weren't able to tour until it's clearly move-in day. We were trying to do it then, so we requested for a later day, but the only other day we could request for was like 2 days later because we would have been gone. So we requested again and we never received confirmation for that tour. So obviously we had to end up driving back home and we never got to see the house before moving in. All right, y'all. Now for the fun part. I'm going to introduce you guys to the characters of this story. So the first character is bully number 1. Bully number 1 name is Lily. The second character is bully number 2. We're gonna call her Kayla. And then we have bully number 3, which was the house manager, and we're gonna call her Nicole. And then obviously you have my best friend and roommate, Courtney. And our suite mates, which so happen to be bully number 2, Kayla, and another girl named Daisy, who was new just like me and my best friend. So, week number 1. Week number 1, everyone was moving in one at a time. How they had us move in was the new people got to go move in the first 2 days, and then every other day of the week, it was just older people coming back at whatever time that they wanted to move in, really. So during this first week, we sat through 2 meetings. The first meeting was a meeting that was just for our house, and then the second meeting was a meeting for all of the houses, and this took place on FSU's campus, and we all went over there and we got to basically just sit there with a crowd of people, all the houses, and we did like a bunch of skits and stuff. And this meeting was actually really fun. But the house meeting, on the other hand, it was just us kind of going over a slideshow of all the rules and expectations that we had to face for the semester. The meeting was so incredibly overwhelming. Like, y'all, there were so many rules and caveats and nuances and new information that wasn't told to us beforehand, or at least it wasn't fully explained on the website or in the handbook. Now granted, if you go on SSF website now today in 2024, a lot of the information is updated. The rulebook is very detailed, and I'm sure that's because they had so many problems. And I can tell why, because they didn't mention a lot of the stuff, but it's all updated, so it's very thorough now. But back then, which was literally a year ago, it was not like that at all. So we did not know fully what we were walking into and what we were supposed to be expected to do. So this made me and my friend feel almost tricked, because it almost felt like they wanted to get us into the program by being like it's a family environment, it's this and that, it's that and this, and they somewhat said the expectations that we had to have as far as the cook crew and the clean crew, but they didn't go more into depth about the fines that we had to pay if certain things weren't done by a certain time, and all the different regulations that we had to follow under just doing the chores alone. And I think that if they would have explained that up front, not as many people would volunteer themselves to be in that sort of program, because it's very easy to get kicked out because there's so much of us that they expect us to do, while knowing that we are college students and some of us also have extracurricular activities to keep track of. And this is our living space, so if we lose this, then we don't have anywhere else to stay. On short notice, we have to hurry up and find another place to live. So yes, it's great that this program houses a lot of college students who deserve it for a cheap price, but at the same time we still do have to pay a price. And then on top of that, once you're in the program, they keep fining you over really small things, and they get you a lot on that, so they end up racking up your money knowing that you're here in this program because you don't really have enough money for college, and this is the cheapest option for you. So to me, it seems a little bit nefarious that I don't know how to explain it, guys. If I can find a picture of the in-depth rules, I will, but trust me when I say a lot of the rules were like hard to keep up and manage, and you could just honestly get fined every day. Here's an example. You could get fined if the whole house was, the whole house walks into the kitchen, the whole house has to basically keep up with the kitchen, but if there's multiple dishes in the sink, but these dishes are just unbeknownst to anyone, like nobody knows who it's from, and let's just say that those dishes came from one person, but because the one person decides to not pick up after themselves, the whole house is then fined for that one person's actions. Now, I do understand the mentality of like a team. We're all a team. We're all a house in this together. So if one person messes up, then it's on everybody. However, this happens so often that we were all paying the price for one person's mistakes. And a lot of time, one person would not fess up to their crimes. And it was almost assumed on it's just the new people who did it. Guys, there were so many times at the beginning of the semester where like one rule was if we left the front door unlocked, then we had to pay a fine of like, I feel like it was $20, because if, for example, like our maintenance man, if they walked up to the house and the door was unlocked, we would all have to pay a $75 fine, everyone in the house. So our house manager did that. If we find that, you're gonna get a warning and also a $20 fine for that. However, y'all, in the group chat, they were always pointing fingers at us new girls for doing this, but me and my roommate, my best friend, me and her knew for a fact that it wasn't us that were leaving the door open, and there was only 2 other new girls in the entire house. There was only 4 of us new girls out of the 16 girls, or 17 girls, including myself. So we were like, well, it's not us, so we don't appreciate that you guys keep pointing the fingers at the new girls for doing this stuff. Anyways, we're gonna get back to the rules and regulations in part 2. My best friend and I were told a story about how a girl moved out last semester because she quote unquote couldn't take the heat. The person that was telling the story, she was claiming that she just tells things straight. She just says things how it is, and she doesn't understand like why people get so butthurt about it. So even when she was telling that story, it kind of raised a red flag for me. Another red flag. This is red flag number 2. It's almost like we were being told this story as a warning because we were new, of course, and they kind of switched the topic when we entered the room, and they were telling this story almost to like say, guys, you need to woman up and be able to take the heat that we guys dish out to you. It's not that deep. We're just telling things how it is. And to me, that's what it seemed like. That was the only reason to bring up that story in that moment. And in hindsight, they probably just bullied that girl. Just based off of what I experienced, I can only imagine what the other girl from the semester before also experienced. So now it's week number 2. And we had to start up doing our bi-weekly chores. So how the chores were determined is our house manager came around to us and she had a cup and we had to draw out which chore that we had out of the cup, and that sheet explained the rules for what was going to insist of that job. So of course, it's my turn and I draw something out of the hat and I get the private fridge. Of course, with my luck, I draw out the private fridge. The private fridge is quite literally one of the hardest, if not the hardest job in the entire house. It's either the next day or maybe 2 days later when we have to actually start doing our chores, and I go to the kitchen to go clean out the private fridge. And as I'm cleaning out the private fridge, bully number 1, Lily, comes in as I'm cleaning and starts giving her unsolicited advice as to what I should be doing with the fridge and how to properly do the job. So of course I take her advice, y'all, because I don't want to get a salutation for doing my job incorrectly, as I am a new girl to the house. Y'all, tell me why minutes later I got 8 up in the chat, y'all. 8 up. Now, before I show you these screenshots, I just want to remind y'all, I was a new member tasked with the most complicated job, and I was told by a previous member how to properly do the job.
So guys, as I'm editing this video, I realized I didn't get into the specifics of what bully number 1 told me when we were in the kitchen, so I'm just gonna try to reiterate the rules that she was trying to tell me, like I needed to do in the kitchen. On the actual rules, it says to take pictures of the items and like basically throw them away based off of whoever responds, and if they don't claim it in that amount of time, you throw it away. And that's basically what the rules were like, are supposed to be. What bully number 1 told me is that I could just go ahead and throw away things that were 1, past the due date that was labeled on the box, and 2, stuff that looks like, basically like, oh, if it looks like nobody's going to even touch that, like it's done, it's clearly wasted, just go ahead and throw it away. Like she was quite literally in the kitchen with me as I was doing stuff. She's like, oh no honey, just go ahead and throw it away. She had literally told me, just like she said in the text later on that you'll see, she literally told me that she had once had the kitchen before, and when she did the private fridge, she had the private fridge before, and when she used to do the private fridge, she wouldn't even listen to anybody, like whatever, she would just do whatever she needed to do her job done the quickest and the fastest, and that's what she did. So the reason why this was a setup is because according to the actual rules, you're supposed to wait until everybody responds in the group chat before throwing stuff away, and not just if the date is bad. And the actual rule about the date thing was you put the date that you put it in the fridge, and then a week from that date is when you would throw it away. So by her telling me that the date that is on the container is like, you know, that's the date that it's bad, that's wrong, because that's the date that they put it in the fridge. So if they just put it in the fridge 2 days ago and then I go and throw out their food. So I understand why the people in the chat were heated the way that they were, but I just know they did not have to come at me that hard, knowing that I'm a new person and this is my first time in the job. And then especially like the stuff that happened after it, it's just, it was not let go. And technically there was only 1 person's food that got thrown away. Everybody else was just doing way too much in my opinion. So personally, you know, I would understand, but that's just me. And I felt like no grace was given, and they were really quick to just harp on me. So I send this picture into the chat and I say, claim these items please. Then bully number 2, Kayla, says, my name is on the plate, ... with that sarcastic looking emoji. Bully number 1 goes, wait, in all caps, laughing. Which bully number 2 then says, if someone claims their food through the chat, I think it's effective for you to put their food back in the fridge rather than having it sit out. Thankfully, I came home when I did because this is Haitian Mac, and if it would have sat out for the entire day and got bad, I would have been upset. Then I respond, I just put that out when I took the picture 20 minutes ago. I'm outside because I had to take a call and I'm patiently waiting for everyone's items to be claimed. My name was on the plate and dates. I made the food on Sunday and my food got thrown out. So that message is from a completely different, she's not even a character in this story. But to bully number 2's message, I have to put the food out on the counter and then wait for everyone to claim their stuff. I'm not just sitting in the kitchen waiting for everyone to text back because most people don't respond right away. So when everyone responds, I go back in the kitchen and put everything back in the fridge, and no, that's not after 2 hours, it's not gonna be sitting out all day. So it was just such an exaggeration and for no reason. So then the girl who got her food thrown out sends a picture in the chat, and then bully number 2 drags it and goes, damn, that's insane, clearly instigating. And then the other girl says, when we do our personal food, we put the date that we make it, not the date that it goes old. Okay, cool, she's clearing up the misunderstanding. And she's the one who got her food thrown away. So she says, I came home thinking I was going to eat. People laugh. So if she's supposed to throw out old food, she's looking for dates that have passed. Maybe start putting a date 3 to 4 days from when you cooked it. That's another girl who has lived in the house the year before that is like asking, is she not supposed to do that? And then I cannot make this up, y'all. Bully number 1 says, can I do the private fridge? And Serenity can do the study room? Guys, bully number 1 is literally the one who was in the kitchen with me, who told me to do these things. Then she comes to the group chat and we're on a completely different energy. So then I say, I apologize for that completely, but given that I am new to the house and this job in particular, where I'm in charge over everybody's personal belongings, I would hope that you guys can understand that I'm going to get things wrong. And then bully number 1 says, because I had it for a work job back freshman, basically when she was a freshman, and no one didn't have an issue, ... I'ma just do the private fridge, ... I want to do it. Pick me.
What is going on?
Girl, what? Did she just quite literally say pick me? Such an ick. I mean, y'all can't tell me this girl wasn't plotting. This is literally the girl who told me to do the job this way. Then someone else says the fridge is half empty. She threw away a lot of my food. For me, at least half a glass pan. I know people make mistakes, but... So that's the girl who sent the pictures before. Then I asked, girl, what glass pan? Because there was literally no glass pan in the fridge, so I didn't know what she was talking about. She says, LOL, that's the amount of food it was, even though I divided it into my containers. Bully number 1 goes ... Like, why is she still instigating? So this is from the house manager. She says, no, there's a misunderstanding. You put the date, you put the food in the fridge. If the date is past a week, then you throw it out. So I thumbs up that, and so does someone else, because clearly there's new people in the chat and old people who did not know that. Another new person asks, does that go for the drinks as well, or just the food? Because once again, we're new, we do not know the rules. Bully number 1 says, that's fine, but I'm finna nap, I have work. The house manager says, I apologize for the confusion, but that's not what it is. The only things thrown out at expiration is the actual packaged items with printed expiration dates. Then bully number 1 says, I have the private fridge, I know how it works, don't change anything about what y'all are already doing, please. Crying emojis, like, please don't change nothing. Okay, first of all, it's so clear to me what she's doing and what she did, because girl, you saying y'all don't change anything, don't do anything, is basically like, in the way that she's saying it, is doubling down on, oh, that girl messed up, I know how to do it right, pick me, like, look over here. What? Girl, you're the one who told me to do it like that. So y'all already know that Bessie is peeping it. So she says, I thought y'all told us to write down the dates of when we wanted the food to be thrown out by. Bully number 1 goes, huh? In all caps, question mark. One more thing, last night when I checked the kitchen, I saw this. Y'all please don't do this because it falls into the next person's day. One blah 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 blah. Anyways, that's from another member of the house who's in charge of the kitchen, and she's basically telling everybody that the kitchen was a mess, so y'all do better. Yeah. So now here's the house manager clarifying the rules for everyone. Drinks and leftovers or any food in containers need to have your name and the day you put it in the fridge. Other packaged items, examples, juice, sandwich meat, etc. only need your name. These items will be thrown away at the printed expiration date. The only exception comes to smelly and moldy food, basically. So you think that would be wraps on the conversation, right? Well, no, because we're still talking about it. She says, hopefully that clears this up. If you have any questions, let me know. Someone else reiterates, everyone writes the date that they put it on the fridge. And then, you know, the girl who was talking about the kitchen wants to like re-tag us in that for whatever reason. And then another girl says, no, you have a whole week. You've been throwing people's ish away. Girl, the conversation is over. Y'all see what I mean? Like, people, I literally have been in this house for 2 weeks and they're over here acting like I've done something to really just disturb their peace. Quite literally like I stepped on their cat or something. I don't know y'all, and I'm new. You would think we want to keep that relationship, but instead they're throwing hooks at me left and right. I'm over here bobbing and weaving the whole conversation. I've already apologized. The house manager has cleared it up for everybody because there were other people who also didn't know the rules, and there's still people taking jabs at any chance that they can get. And y'all, they continue this for the rest of my stay at this house, and specifically to certain people, but mostly bully number 2. She keeps this straight up the longest. Quite literally at any chance that she got, she was throwing jabs about stuff that happened in the second week. Could not move on. It was annoying. Especially because you can clearly tell that multiple people did not know the rules either. So I wasn't the only one. It's week 2. Let's forget about it.
She clearly knew what she was doing, and I stand on that. Because as I was cleaning out the fridge, she was there telling me exactly what to do, and there was other people in the kitchen that literally saw her telling me what to do and did not say anything. In fact, one of those people was bully number 3, Nicole, the house manager, who quite literally sat there and agreed with everything that she said, but then had other words to say in the group chat later. Both of them did. Make it make sense, y'all. I sniff a setup. They both knew what they were doing, and they fed me to the wolves. So after that whole incident, I got my job switched, and it really opened my eyes to how girls can really be cliquey and very catty and just mean girls through and through, and how quick they are to cause drama for literally no reason. Totally a welcoming family environment, am I right, guys? At our next meeting, bully number 2, and this was about 2 weeks after this whole incident, decides to say, and I forgot what was going on. I think it was just like questions at the end of the meeting, and the house manager was like, does anyone have anything to add? And then Kayla raises up her hand and goes, the private fridge is much better now. Thank you for doing such a good job and knowing how to do your job. Y'all, I was sitting there and she's like 2 people away from me. So the audacity. I'm sitting there, my best friend's next to me. I'm quite literally holding on to her, and she's like, I can sense her energy. She's like, calm down, like don't go off. And I'm just sitting there trying my best not to say anything, but trust me, I sure enough gave her the stare down. I was like, what? Because first of all, I had already apologized in the group chat. Y'all sat there, well, she didn't say this, but someone said, it's okay, everyone makes mistakes. I thought all was forgiven. I've moved on to my new job. I've been doing that job fine. And 2 weeks later, you decide to bring up the past in front of me, in front of the whole house, for no reason. It was over with. It was done. Why are we bringing it up? There was no other reason but to be a mean girl. And this girl was known for just constantly trying to out me in public settings. She clearly has some sort of humiliation kink or something.
But anyways,
I don't know what it is, but every single time it was like she got joy and thrill out of bringing up my name in front of other people. Fall semester 2023. So from that moment on, I decided I was not going to engage with that girl who clearly had it out for me and had this odd motive to just constantly embarrass me or put me on blast in front of the entire house. This is the same girl that told us she just says things how it is. No, hun, you're just a bully.
So when I use the word bully, I don't want to make this seem like I'm a victim, I've been bullied, but I do want to use the word in the quite literal sense of the fact that these girls are all in a position of power. Not only have they been here in the house longer, seniority roles, but they also all have different positions, like house positions, that the new girls weren't able to have. So it actually affects our stay in the house based off of how they treat us in front of the group and ostracizing one person at all times. They quite literally did this a lot, and it wasn't just to me, but they did do this to each other a lot, where they would put one person in the center and quite literally rag on that person in front of the whole group. I have literally multiple receipts and evidence of that, but I'm not going to do that to every single time that happened because we would just be here all day. I'm just using the examples of when it happened to me and the people who would specifically do it the most. Not to mention, I thought it would paint an accurate picture of honestly showing for what it was. One of the girls, bully number 2, did quite literally use the word bully at one point. You'll see that in a later conversation, and she was saying that she wasn't a bully, but I never even said the word bully to her. So I thought that the fact that she even brought that up just goes to show that they knew what they were doing and they knew how it could be perceived, and they still chose to act the way they were acting, in a position of power to someone who's new to a house full of 16 girls. So yeah, I don't know, I'm just calling it for what it is.
More about bully number 2. Remember, y'all, bully number 2, Kayla, is also our sweet mate. So at any given chance, this girl was trying so hard to throw us under the bus and get us in trouble for not properly cleaning the bathroom or doing our chores properly. All semester long, she complained and complained and complained to us about how we weren't doing our jobs properly, how we weren't, like, at one point she complained that I wasn't using bleach to clean the bathroom, and so therefore the bathroom wasn't actually clean. But how I was raised and in my household, we don't use just straight up bleach to just clean the bathroom every single time we're cleaning the bathroom. Unless we're deep cleaning the bathroom, we don't do that. We used all-purpose cleaning sprays and, you know, all of the sprays that are cleaning but doesn't just have enough bleach in it to where the whole bathroom just smells like bleach. And so she quite literally came to me and told the person that was in charge of checking our bathrooms that I wasn't properly cleaning the bathroom because she couldn't smell bleach. Girl, that doesn't mean I'm not cleaning the bathroom. Your nose hairs just aren't burning out because you don't smell bleach. So make it make sense. Like, I know she saw that the bathroom visibly looked different than how it looked before, so the fact that she was straight up acting like I wasn't cleaning the bathroom period was getting on my nerves, especially because I knew that she had missed her day to clean the bathroom multiple times, and I said nothing. Why? Because I stay out of drama. I have no beef against you, but for some reason you're hardcore trying to come at me every chance that you get. And the main thing that they had on us every single time, her and the other sweet mate, Daisy, was that we didn't take out the trash. And Courtney and I, honestly, we're not used to taking out the trash, so we genuinely apologized and we're like, yeah, we should probably take out the trash more. But other than that, y'all, we literally were doing our job, and they were trying to find every single string to pull at to say that we weren't doing it, saying there was hairs on the ground, but then the hairs were straight and they're both like mixed race, and it wasn't me and Courtney with the afro kinky hair, girl. Like, please be for real right now. Fast forward to homecoming week and this conversation ensues.
So bully number 2, Kayla, says, "Good morning. I know you two at Courtney at Serenity go in and out of town a lot. But that is no excuse to not cleaning the bathroom. This is community living. It is not fair that Rumi and I have to constantly clean the bathroom when you both use it too. Also, these trash cans are very easy to fill. With that said, they need to be taken out frequently rather than looking at it and constantly adding more to it. Try taking it out more. I agreed with that. Anyways, with that said, moving forward, I hope to see you all clean the bathroom more. And if you can clean the bathroom on your day, get with Rumi and I and let us know. That way we could possibly switch days for that week. So then I respond and say, I'll try to take out the trash more. Courtney is the one who emphasized this message. Then I say, but as far as the bathroom goes, I usually clean that on my day, and I might have forgot this past weekend if it was my turn because I was out of the house for a pretty good reason. Y'all, that pretty good reason was that I was pregnant and I was at home, and the people who needed to know that knew that, but not my sweet mates who don't like me. Why would I tell them that? Anyways, I said we'll do better in the future. Courtney emphasizes that. Nobody else responds. And then just as a bonus, I'm going to add this part. But when I get back up there, it's my day to clean, and I tell them, just letting y'all know I'm cleaning the bathroom if anyone is home. Basically telling y'all I'm cleaning the bathroom, come check it. If you have a problem, say it now. Alright, so this conversation starts on October 30th, which is over a week later, and I am back home with my parents. And another person who is in charge of overseeing our bathroom responds in the group chat and says, I think we need another meeting. And to which I respond, why? Because y'all, at this point I was pretty fed up. We had already had a meeting before this about our bathroom, and this was literally a week later, and now we're having another meeting. Not to mention we had chats on our own, so it just felt a little bit redundant. So then of course Kayla swoops in and says, because we need to acknowledge when to take responsibility and what exactly community living is. Clearly, she's only talking about two people in the chat because the other person is her roommate and the other person is the one in charge. And then I respond, I honestly don't think another meeting is necessary for that, Kayla. And then she says, it was communicated, however, it wasn't comprehended, which was shown the other night. So we'll get into the situation that she's referring to, but I then respond, this is starting to get real petty for no reason, because we had already communicated this as a sweet mate group or whatever. The four of us had already talked about this without the people, the higher ups involved, and said this was okay, it was a one-off problem, and we discussed it and it was over. We've already had a meeting before with the higher ups and talked about this over and over again, and yet they still decided to make another meeting, pointing the fingers at us over a situation that quite literally I had already explained did not happen. So then of course Kayla has a snarky response and says, so it's real petty that me and my roommate don't appreciate piss dripping off of our toilet seat. And to which I respond, no, the way that you go about things since I've gotten in this house is real petty and never necessary. She says, I've only had 2 situations with you, so I don't know what you're talking about. I said, like asking for a second meeting for a situation we have already discussed. And then I said, let's not pretend, responding to the I've only had 2 situations, because she knows that that is not true at all. And then she says that she never asked for the second meeting, but she clearly came in here at me sideways when I asked the group leader why we were having the second meeting. And she goes, well, because nobody can expect or understand community living. Of course, I think you're the one who called the meeting, but it was clearly her roommate since she didn't call it. So yeah, I've never asked for the second meeting, sweets. And I said, so we just somehow got here again. And then she says, we'll get into it. What have I done outside of our 2 scenarios? And then my bestie says, literally today, ... I don't know if that's one of the 2 you're speaking on. And then she proceeds to respond, but I'm going to address what my bestie said. Basically, that same day in the main house group chat, she had once again called me out for messing or not doing my job with the kitchen when I was literally out of town, and my bestie was the one who was supposed to cover for me, and she forgot. It was this whole thing, but regardless, it was already taken care of by our house manager, and she understood and knew what was going on. But of course, this girl was like, oh, this is the perfect opportunity to say stuff about her in the group chat without knowing what was going on at all. I'm clearly out of town, and she blamed the whole situation on me, of course, talking about that the kitchen smells like trash, it's this, it's that bad. First of all, there's no way it could have been that bad. Second of all, if it's that bad, y'all are the ones at the house dirtying it up. I'm not even there right now. And everybody who needs to know knows. So stop coming at me at any chance that you get and you don't even know the full story and the facts. And here comes the more lies, because outside of y'all not cleaning the bathroom and this, basically saying outside of these scenarios, nothing else has happened. That's false. Literally, since I walked into the house, she's giving me mean girl energy for no reason. And I said, you know what you do? There's really no reason for me to explain history. I don't know why we're acting like the only problem you've harped on us on is the bathroom. And then a fantastic point by Bestie. She said you could have easily just texted her directly instead of doing all that indirect calling out, which is once again something that she did in front of the whole house and group chat when I wasn't even at the house. I can't fix anything about it, so what's the point? So then here goes classic gaslighting and manipulation. Well, I'm sorry if you've internalized anything wrong, but I've never had a problem with you outside of her bathroom. And I did not call you out today. I would do the same thing to anyone, and it's actually not that deep. Like I said, I think you don't understand community living. The kitchen smells like the bathroom be nasty. There was piss dripping off of our toilet. This is me stating observations and facts. Actually, no. There was no observations or no facts. Oh, hold on. There was observations, but more like accusations. Basically, this situation that she's addressing is when it was me and my boyfriend at our place, and then she saw my boyfriend that day and then just assumed that my boyfriend was the reason why there was piss dripping off our toilet seat. First of all, I didn't even see him walk in the bathroom that day, but they also had a bunch of company over that day. Her roommate did. But yet she jumped straight to conclusions, and it's all of a sudden Serenity's boyfriend. That is a straight up accusation, because you don't know unless you quite literally followed him into the bathroom that he's the one that pissed on the seat. There's 4 people that share that bathroom, and one of them had a bunch of company over that day. So it's just funny to me that you decided to not even address your roommate, but just automatically point fingers at my boyfriends. That is literally an assumption. And the fact that she goes on talking about take accountability, it's a fact, it's observations. No. Observation does not equal fact. That is not how life works. You can have a hunch, doesn't mean that you're right. So shut the hell up. And then this is the part that got me. She goes, it is not my fault that I'm holding you accountable. You don't need to hold me accountable for my actions, because when I've done something wrong in the past, I have apologized time and time again. But what you won't do is point the fingers at me when you're completely wrong and then expect me to say sorry just because you think you're gonna ostracize me down and say whatever you want, and then I'm just gonna be like, oh, I'm sorry because I'm the new girl. No, ma'am. So she says, what you do and don't do impacts everyone. Also, I love the fact that you decided to have this conversation in the chat without our house manager. First of all, I did not start this conversation. The other girl who's over the bathroom did. I know you saw that. Second of all, I'm literally just answering to your haughty responses. So my bestie then says, this piss was clearly a mess that Serenity and I weren't aware of. That the girl cleaned it before we even saw it, so the one incident regarding that is unnecessary to keep bringing up. Y'all, this girl quite literally says, okay, but let's take accountability instead of saying I don't appreciate you making assumptions. That's my whole thing. All I hear is excuses, and even more excuses. Instead of making me seem like a bully or an aggressor, let's understand and be empathetic. Girl, understand and be empathetic about what? The fact that you hardcore accuse me of every single problem that ever goes down in this house? What? First of all, why would I admit to a situation that never happened? Because you told me to? Bully? Like, girl, what? That doesn't even make any sense. Who admits to something that quite literally did not happen? I'm not about to bow down and say, I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry that happened when I did not do that. Anyways, then my bestie says, the thing is, we do not know who did it, so for you to put the blame on us is exactly what we're trying to explain is unnecessary. Isn't it? She goes, at Courtney, where'd you come from? What? Then she says,
I said the piss came from someone with a penis. And if I'm not mistaken, you said you weren't even home. Courtney corrected her name because that's not how you spell it. Anyways, I stated that I know a vagina didn't do it. And the point she was trying to make is, how do you know that? Because he, my boyfriend, was the only person with a penis to be in the bathroom. She even acknowledged the fact that he was indeed the only person with a penis to be in there. No, I didn't. I said that her roommate had multiple people there. I have no clue who those people were, but I heard them loud and clear. Pretty sure I heard a male too. So then I say, no, Kayla, I haven't internalized anything. You've been nothing but rude and quote-unquote observing everything since I've stepped foot into the house. I have taken accountability every single time that I don't do right or something hasn't gotten done. But it's gotten to the point where I'm sick of the attitude and the petty behavior, which there has been plenty. In the situation regarding the bathroom, I was the first to admit fault and say that it would get better. And yet y'all chose to have a meeting about it after that conversation. I respected that choice then, but now we're having an entire new meeting with the same exact people to talk about a single incident in the bathroom that has already been accused of being my fault because of my company, even though I personally never saw any pee around the toilet or sticky floor by the sink. A second meeting is far from necessary in my opinion because I know how to take accountability for my actions. It's just this particular time, I don't think I was the cause for the problem. I have yet to see you guys take accountability for anything, not even once, even right now when I'm calling you out for your rude behavior. Okay guys, so basically from that whole story, I think that the gist of it is that it seems like they always wanted me to answer to them, even when I did not owe them that answer. And I understand there's a certain responsibility that you have in the house when you live with multiple people. However, in this specific scenario, I was going through a tough time and I tried my best. I did clean the bathroom, I did do my job, but there were certain caveats that weren't met quite up to their expectations, like using bleach and taking out the trash all the time. And I apologize for those things, but then there were problems that weren't ever my fault, and I was the first person that was accused of those problems. And so what I was saying there is, I'll admit to fault when it is my fault, but you're not going to bully me into having an answer just because you suspect that it's me. The actual facts are that there's 4 people who share a bathroom. So ask everyone instead of immediately being like, well, Serenity, I saw your man here and there was pee on the toilet. Only men can pee on the toilet, so it's clearly him. Girl, what? What type of logic is that? What type of logic is that? Anyways, yeah. All right, y'all, so I have to cut the video off here. If you find this video interesting so far, please stay tuned for part 2 of the video. I promise you it gets worse, okay? Because in part 2 of the video, I am in my first trimester of pregnancy dealing with all of this mess, and they quite literally do something just unheard of and very insincere to their values that they have of a family environment. So stay tuned for that one, but I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Now when they see us in the streets, all